When you're busy, like really, really busy, like you have so much work, you can't get it done no matter how hard you push at it or what you do or any sort of like strategy and help and whatever it is, when you're that busy, it's tough to know the best approach to actually move forward. Some days in some situations, it feels like you have to push through it. It feels like, the only way forward is to knuckle down and just get it done. And then sometimes it feels like it's just not possible. And there's no way that you can string the ideas and the thoughts and the words, whatever together to actually brute force it. But the problem is, in the moment, when you're stressed, when you're trying to solve a problem and it's just not clicking, it's hard to know what the right path forward is. Do you keep going and push through, or do you take a step back and re-examine and take a breather, take a break? And that's what I want to talk about. In this video, we're gonna unpack a little bit of like how you tell the difference, questions you can ask yourself, and ways you can move forward in the best way for you. So this is really timely for me because I've been going through this a lot with work. A lot of tight deadlines, a lot of opportunities for me to like mentally examine, what is my best approach here. And so, on the one end, whenever you're working really hard on something and you need to move forward, like one question that you can ask yourself, or one thing that you can examine, is like, how much of this is just mental? If you're trying to push through on something and a lot of your issue is, well, I'm procrastinating, or I haven't, I have decision paralysis, or, whatever, they're like mental blocks that are going into your way that are more kind of acting as a barrier to keep you from working, not actually doing the work in the first place. I would say, at least for me, a lot of times the best path forward is to just keep barreling through. Because I know for me, if I take a step back, if I give myself the opportunity to procrastinate, well, I'm going to procrastinate more. I'm going to look at it and I'm going to say, oh, well, I'm giving myself an excuse and I'm justifying allowing myself to just, not take on this project, when the thing is, like, if I just took 10 minutes and built up some momentum and really got going, I might be able to crack through it and actually get some work done. On the other end, maybe I'm doing a lot of work and I'm doing a lot of like good stuff, but I can feel myself winding down. Like, no matter how much good work I'm putting out, it's steadily getting worse, or it's steadily becoming harder to find the words and make the thing happen. That's the point where, for me, I say I need to take a break. I need to set this down. I need to come back because I am spent at this point. My brain is sludge, and there's no way, no matter how much time and effort and whatever that I put into this, that anything good is going to come out of it. And it's something that's important to recognize, because it's like, if you're in that state, if it's like kind of a mini burnout state, like nothing good can come from that. Like, I mean, yeah, you can push through in the times where you have no other option and you have to do something and you have to put words to a page, or you have to get a project done, even outside of like writing. If you're a parent and you have to, like, you just have to be there. You don't have the option to take a step back and breathe. Like, sometimes it's just something you have to do. But when you're in a fortunate position, we're able to kind of examine it. It is one of those things where you can realize in yourself, hey, I need a minute. I need to examine. If I'm going to do my best work, I need to take a step back and examine this. I need to come back tomorrow with fresh eyes, because like if not, it's going to be subpar and I'm going to be worse off for it. And I wish there was a perfect checklist, like a flow chart where you could go down and it would say this is this and that goes to this and this means this and you get the perfect answer. Yay, win every time. But that isn't how it works. A lot of times feelings are muddy and the path forward isn't super clear. So you have to kind of ask yourself, like, questions to gauge your situation and feel like what's right for you. Like, for one, like if you're stuck, are you stuck because you're tired? Or are you stuck because you're scared? Because those are like two different questions that can, push you down different paths. If you get to the end of a long day, are you drained because you've just been putting in hard work? Or are you drained because you've been doing the wrong thing and you've been getting frustrated the whole time? And if you take a break, and this kind of depends on different people, depending on your personality, but like if you take a break at this moment, are you going to feel relieved just to have a break, just to have a breather, just to have a moment to, not think? Or are you going to come back with fresh ideas? Because that can really kind of gauge where you are in the creative process and what the best path forward might be. Because the answers aren't always easy and they're not always clear. You just have to kind of ask yourself a few clarifying questions that can help you kind of identify what mental state you're in. And sometimes, maybe that just requires actually taking a step back to be able to give yourself the moment to ask those questions. And sometimes that's a bigger luxury than we think about. That's a tough thing to do sometimes. But if you're able to do that, you can usually get a clearer picture of what to do to actually get better work done. So TLDR is some days, best thing you can do is to just keep working. And some days, the best thing you can do is to not work at all and not even think about working, because that would be terrible and would stress you out more. And both are right. Both are right at different points and both are wrong at different points. And the important thing is not, figuring out, it's the perfect thing to pick in this time and, whatever. I think it's just listening to yourself better, like knowing what you need as a creative person at any given moment, knowing your limits, knowing who you need to be and what you need to succeed. Because that is the thing, is like famous creatives, people who do incredible work, there are people who put in 16-hour days and just push through all the time and create incredible work. And that's phenomenal for them, for the life that they want to live, whatever. But that isn't realistic for everybody. And not everybody works that way. Not everybody's brain functions that way. And so you have to figure out what works for you so that you can do the best work possible. Because I know for me, last few weeks doing work, if I kept going at it, I would be a big old pile of brain mush, and that isn't great for anybody. So been taking a little bit of a break, trying to enjoy a little bit of free time here and there so that I can come back and actually do some good things. Sometimes you got to do that too.